I can still...
You're seeing the presentation now, Aidan?
Yeah, I can see the presentation, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So, has the recording started?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, I'll start off with welcoming everyone to the second of our webinars and thanking everyone for their time this evening. Basically, what we'll talk about today is how to upskill and train to become an Oracle Cloud consultant, working with Vertex IT Solutions and I Love Oracle. Aidan, Duffy and I are in partnership. So we'll cover off the offering itself and also a demonstration on the cloud learning subscription provided by Oracle University. So a brief introduction, if I can. My screen isn't actually moving. So myself, my name is Tony Cook. I'm the Managing Director and founder of Vertex IT Solutions. I've been involved in Oracle projects since version 10.6 of the Business Suite, mainly from a resourcing and recruitment perspective. Since then, we've developed relationships and training offerings with Oracle University and subsequently partner with OU and Oracle themselves. And I'll let Aidan introduce himself.
Thanks, Tony. My name is Aidan Duffy. I've been working in the European market as an independent Oracle e-business suite consultant since 1999. My first contract was with Oracle, and I've worked for various multinationals in the UK, Belgium, Portugal, and Germany since then. I started my career as a technical consultant, and I made the jump from technical into functional for some reasons that we'll go into greater depth on the call today. I was also able to lengthen my contract term from an average at the start of 6 months per client to my last contract was 76 months, which is 6 years, and I did it following a framework or a system that we're going to talk about today. So I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to explain to you how this all works.
Okay, so if we start off looking at the current market challenges that are ahead of us, and particularly for learners, historically Oracle, particularly the ERP projects, are fairly sizable and drawn out, and because of that, there was the opportunity to do quite a lot of learning throughout the implementation itself. That there is still learning opportunities, but not quite to the same extent because of the speed in which Oracle Cloud applications are, the projects, how they're delivered. So one of the challenges we have is upskilling people within the right time frames. There's not enough time now to learn on the job itself. Also, at this point in time, a lot of systems integrators are taking all the lion's share of the implementations because of the risk factors involved. We're still at the infancy of or the early adoption of cloud applications, and therefore organizations are entrusting systems integrators to deliver that work. However, that will start to change. It already is starting to change, where the organizations out there are looking for experts in the field to work on their side of the implementation, QAing potentially the work that the SI is doing. Ongoing from that, we have continual new features and upgrades within the implementation itself. So keeping ahead of those new features and up to date with the technology is obviously a challenge in its own right. Alongside that, there's one thing, obviously understanding the product, but really some of the challenges are understanding the implementation methodology as well, which in its own right can be a challenge. So how do you find the cloud users out there? The numbers are growing, but still it's about identifying, you know, who the organizations are and how you can engage with them. On top of that, it's really understanding what is selling, what isn't selling, what customers are buying, how you can position yourself to get that next move in your career and upskill accordingly. And really where to get the right recruitment advice in that Oracle Cloud market. You know, it is a small niche market in the grand scheme of things. It's growing obviously every day, but there's still a large amount of the Oracle install base on legacy ERP solutions. So a lot of the customers that are adopting cloud are new Oracle customers as well as some existing customers. So that means that you know, you need a real professional recruitment service to support you once you've taken on that skill set. And also how to pitch yourself in the market, so to speak. So what are the contract rates if you're a contractor or if you're looking for a permanent job? What are the salaries that are on offer? So essentially what we've got here is very much a kind of chicken and egg situation, but hopefully what we're going to show you today will help you navigate your way through some of these challenges. So just talking about Vertex, the sort of technical training that we provide, we work with Oracle University as an education reseller. That gives us access to over 6,000 Oracle training courses across the Red Stack. Also now we're very much a digital champion working with Oracle University, providing experience across learning subscriptions, how to adopt those and make the best out of those. We put together learning paths for our students as well and provide instructor-led training. Working with partners like Aiden, we're able to provide functional training in terms of understanding the implementation methodology, and Aiden will go into that in a little bit more detail. And on top of that, it's really about how to best adopt these products, looking at technology now that Oracle are embedding in the application, things like guided learning and contextual help, and blending that with more of a hands-on approach as well. So we'll just go through the 6 ways that we've identified of how to become an Oracle Cloud consultant, and that really is by combining the functional skills that you need from the implementation methodology and the technical skills that the cloud learning subscriptions can provide you. So at this point, I'll just hand over to Aidan to talk about the functional elements of this.
Yeah, so a couple of points from a functional consultant's perspective. I think shorter project timelines means you have less time for kind of working out and learning on the job. And I think knowledge of the product set, to have that at your fingertips or to be able to access a system, and knowledge of the project life cycle will be really important because of the shortened implementation times that cloud is reputed to provide. I think the emphasis on configuration rather than customization is another great reason or another great advantage for someone who has cloud product knowledge at their fingertips. And the third point, or general point I'd make, is that in an uncertain environment, which I think cloud is right now, adherence to a framework, a well-known market framework like Oracle Unified Method is the methodology of choice. I think it's a great approach to proving that you can actually do the job. So then from just to go into detail then on the 6 key functional skills. So from a functional perspective or an Oracle Unified Method perspective, we're talking about mastering the objectives and requirements to gain immediate credibility as an expert implementer. So I know the old saying of a good first impression is really very apt here, because if you're talking about the objectives phase, you're going to be meeting senior business people. You want to be able to provide a quality deliverable that can withstand the scrutiny of a client. And in my opinion, the Oracle Unified Method template documents are the perfect template and framework for you to portray the objectives of the project, let's say. And then from the requirements point of view, typically you'll be talking to, let's say, HCM leads or business leads. So these are people you need to develop close contact through the project. A lot of the difference between OUM and AIM is that they've got a lot of the documents have pictorial representations, which makes explanation to the business a lot easier. So using OUM, you can be the go-to guy, the guy that the business, on the technical team, that the business can understand. And the OUM templates, I think, give you a great head start in that respect.
Yeah, and dovetailing that with the cloud learning subscriptions, what Aidan and I have done is mapped the two learnings together. And the first stage within the cloud learning subscription is really to understand that, the evolution of cloud, and following through the overviews, the system overviews, looking at the overviews and introductions into things like the functional setup manager, how the reporting and the analytics would sit together to give you a good base to start to work from there within the cloud learning subscription itself.
So then the next stage is the design and implement stage. So here we're talking about configuring the product to meet the client's requirements, demonstrating your product knowledge to the clients, and also your knowledge of a strong project framework, let's say. So we're talking about the configuration tasks here, and also about extending Oracle Cloud to meet current business processes. I think HCM is a particularly popular model or module for the coexistence model, which is combining cloud modules with an existing EBS framework. And I guess the Oracle Unified Method training that we provide talks in detail about designing extensions. So it's a really good start to design integration points with your cloud solution.
Yeah, and again, following alongside that from a learning path and a learning subscription model, within the learning subscription itself, you get access to all the pre-recorded material that Oracle has to offer within the cloud learning subscription. They're broken down into varying different modules. Obviously today we're talking more about HCM, but within that you will then access all the real detailed training on demand videos that have been pre-recorded by Oracle University training experts, and then from that you can start to test your skills with the real hardcore configuration elements, and learning how to load in data and understand integration and the coexistence elements that sit with that.
So next then we're talking about build and test. So typically the functional consultants wouldn't get too deeply involved in build, but what I've found from personal experience is that it'll save you a ton of heartache later on if you develop a relationship with the dev guys and start to dictate the testing at that point. And then from a testing point of view, it's one of the key phases of an Oracle EBS or cloud project, and I think we cover 6 different test deliverables from the OUM methodology: the requirements, the strategy, the static test data, system test scenarios, system test plan, and UAT, so that you as a functional cloud consultant can become the linchpin or the leading functional consultant on the project. And that's kind of the aim of the framework, is to give you all the ammunition that you need to be the smartest person in the room, because you understand how the framework works, how projects are run, and you've got the credibility then of using Oracle's documents to deliver your information to the client.
Yeah, and obviously from a learning subscription basis, it's broken down into various different roles. So as part of this phase, some of the learning you can take on here is the understanding of the user and the administrative elements within cloud as well, and add more meat to the bones from your current learnings in terms of additional modules and looking at the reporting and the analytics elements as well. So there really is a lot to take on through every phase, really.
Okay, so then next we're talking about the transition and administer phase. So again, what we teach is the cutover process. So that, again, it's not something that you'd say was in the typical functional consultant skill set, but a functional consultant is actually the perfect person to implement, design and run the cutover plan. The great thing about running a cutover plan is that you actually get credit when Oracle Cloud goes live. I've been in this situation before, working as a functional guy. If you're not in cutover, to a certain extent, from a visibility point of view with the client, you may as well not have worked on the project at all. So that's why it's really useful in extending your reputation with the client to be involved in cutover, and we covered that in depth in the functional training.
Yeah, and what you'll also learn with the learning subscription is understanding the importing of the data, looking at data loaders, and again going back over the administration training, and look at some of the issues that may come along with your upgrade considerations, new features that may be coming along the line that may impact some of the aspects of this transitional phase as well. So all of the latest release information will be there for you at the same time within the learning subscription.
So next then, from an OUM or functional training point of view, having kind of gone into the depth of each of the 6 key skills, we sort of step back and go, right, how do they fit into a typical Oracle cloud project, let's say? So that's kind of giving you some context on where the skills fit in. We've also got a number of bonus features on personal branding and LinkedIn, which is I think some of the soft skill bonuses that we have as part of the functional training.
And one of the things I really like, and we'll demonstrate this, is that within Cloud Learning Subscription now there's a gamification element that's built into the product that allows you to skills check yourself through all these phases. But as you go through this skills check, you can then finally get to the point where you're sitting a specialization certified exam. Obviously, you pass that, you then become a certified cloud consultant in Oracle's training eyes. Now's the point of taking that into a world of reality. But the good thing about a learning subscription is that you have it for an entire year, which means that you can then go back and revise and relearn some elements of the training that perhaps you've become slightly rusty with, or you need to just reskill, and that's a real benefit. But when you move from one version to another, say from version 11 to version 12, I'll show you this in a presentation shortly, but you can then analyze, the system will then analyze what elements of the system you need to reskill on to become certified in the latest version. So Oracle University have really thought about this and looked at the usability and the learning paths and the understanding of the learning subscription itself to give you more benefit from your investment.
Yeah, so then finally, from a functional training perspective, what we try to do is to give you the skills that allow you to be productive on a project straight away. So what I found myself when I transferred in from technical to functional, I had a couple of the key functional skills, but I quickly realized there was a lot more to a functional role than that. So the power of the training is that you can walk in every day to your project knowing exactly what's going to happen today, what's going to be expected of you next week and next month. And that's the real beauty of learning the OUM framework, is it gives you the confidence to walk into a meeting going, I know exactly what's going on here, what's expected of me, and you'll have the excellent templates that OUM provides. You'll be given the client documentation that they can understand. And in fact, on the training, we go through a real world scenario and go through the 6 phases of an Oracle cloud project, and we give example deliverables and documents for that real world business scenario. So you'll be able to leverage the work that I've done to create on the training and be productive straight away.
Yeah, and obviously the next stage, as I alluded to on our first slide, is to make sure that you're working with an organisation that can help you get gainful employment. Now you've become certified, if you're not already employed, that is. So if you're looking for a role to move into, become a cloud implementer or a contractor and gain contracts in this area, then working with a specialist Oracle agency such as Vertex, we can certainly help you gain that next stage of employment, and that's one of the services that we provide. So just moving on to the learning subscription. So within this slide, this will demonstrate the capabilities of a learning subscription. Now, you'll see that it's broken down to SaaS and PaaS. Now, each has got a vertical underneath that. So when you buy a learning subscription, you're buying access to one of those verticals. So particularly within SaaS. So if you're a CX consultant, or that's where you want to reside, then you would buy a CX learning subscription. If it's HCM, then HCM, for example, and obviously supply chain. On platform as a service, you get a lot of access to all the elements that are there. So just looking at the features of the platform itself, it's very rich in the features that it offers. As I've mentioned before, we have gamification and a badging and a points element to it. There's structured learning paths. You can queue your learning and personalize it. You've got your own individual progress reports. And if you're an organization, you can have a company progress report for your L&D department as well. And Oracle are laying on regular live events. And personally, I think the search function is excellent as well. And I'll demonstrate these elements in the demonstration shortly. So this is the initial screen or your dashboard if you're a user within learning subscriptions, and you'll see at the top there's a content available in this by release. Again, you can track your progress and look at the learning paths, and it helps you to map out your journey, whether you're an experienced or a new consultant. You can what they call queue your training and organize it in a fashion that's suitable to yourself. As I mentioned, we have the live events, and we have a points counter that enables you to go through certain elements of your micro certification. We have role-based learning, and obviously the certification offerings that we're talking about as well. And there's certain hot topics that if the support teams are getting regular contact about certain issues, those topics are available there. Navigating your way through is very clear to the users that adopt a learning subscription. It really starts from the basics and takes you through those role-based skills and then through into certification. Now, once you're certified, as I mentioned earlier, there's new releases coming every sort of 6 months to a year, so you'll then need to update your skills and refresh those, and that takes you back through that path as well. And here we have a slide looking at the role-based learning. So within this, we're looking at Cloud HCM certification, and it shows you here clearly what elements of the learning that you still need to continue through to gain that certification. So it's very intuitive and easy to use. So I'll show you that shortly. And here within the topics, we've got a topic-based learning. Again, it's broken down into the points scoring as the roles are, and then at the bottom you'll see there it has a skill check and a progress meter at the top to show you how far through this particular topic you are, which obviously brings into play the real effective learning path management. And talking about the learning path management, you've got a progress report here. So for each of these individual skills, there's a skill check by role and by topic, and you can then see what elements that you've completed and which parts that you need to focus on moving forward. So we'll just skip through that, and then I'll show more on the demonstration. I'll pass over to Aidan now to talk more about the functional training, what you can expect to get there.
Sure, yeah. So what we teach in the functional training is based on the six key stages of an Oracle project. So objectives, requirements, design and build, test and transition. And those are the 6 key skills of a functional consultant. So then if we think about this from an objectives and requirements perspective, I just created this workflow to demonstrate the transition from the previous stage, which is objectives. This is the requirements workflow. And then we move into design. So we cover the system context diagram and various other deliverables. And in each deliverable, we've got a video recorded lesson, the presentation that we go through, and then an example which is based on the real life business scenario that I talked about earlier. So from a design and build perspective, then we go through each of the key deliverables in that workflow, and then from a test and transition perspective as well. So there are 19 lessons in total, moving from objectives, requirements, design and build, test and transition.
Okay, so we'll move into the demonstration itself. I'm in the learning subscription. I'm just going to take us to the home page here. This is the dashboard that you would see from a learning subscription. At the top here, you can drop this down to the release version that's relevant to you as a learner. The search option here is really very good. So if you're looking to focus on within HCM payroll, for example, you can search from that search option, and this will then give you all the related payroll learning that's available to you. And as you can see, there's quite a lot. Following along the top of the bar here, you have your progress. So if we click onto that, it will then take you through the learning path itself, and then how far you have gone through each of the topics that are available. So you know from there where you'd need to focus, the points that you've earned, the videos that you've watched and completed. Next to that, you have your training. Now in here, you can, as you go through, and I'll show you in a moment, you can queue elements of the training that are relevant to you, and organize your learning so that it's going to work for you, basically. Next to that, we have live events, and again here you can register for those with the timelines that are available. And if I go back to the home page button, it will take me back to where we were. So if we scroll down, within the learning subscription itself, you have the channel option and you have the learning path option. So I'll just look at the learning paths for a second. And then we're in HCM right now, so the Global HCM Implementation Essentials, this basically takes you through a learning path to become a certified cloud HCM consultant. And as you can see, this will take you through each phase. Now, you do need to have an element of base knowledge to start this learning path, and I mapped it out earlier. It's approximately 5 days and 10 hours worth of training here, solidly. So, you know, you obviously can stop and start this in your own time, and you can put as much or little time to this learning as you have. So it's as flexible as you want it to be. You can access this training from any device as well, as long as you have the right browser and version of Java as well. So, you know, if you're brand new to cloud, my suggestion would be that you know, we go back to the channels, and then from the channels here, you can then get started and learn more about your learning subscription. You have various videos here to teach you about navigation, how to use the Oracle Learning subscription itself, and then you go into the introduction to the product you're looking to learn. And within here, there are a lot of introduction videos that you can watch to get you into the product itself. If you're moving from one version to another, then it's very important for you to understand what's new in the latest version, and that channel will give you all of that information that you need, and that's broken down into further options as well. If you're not already as a CLS subscriber, that will automatically give you access to the Cloud Customer Connect product, which is fantastic. It really brings the ecosystem of cloud users together to share lessons learned and challenges or queries, etc. So it's a good community to be part of. And then obviously we have here the new features as well. If you notice down the bottom, there's a little queue option. If you click on queue, that will then give you the option to add this particular piece of learning to my learning. So if you hit queue here, that will then put that into my learning. So if I then go back up to my training at the top, you'll then see that learning piece is now in my training. So just going back to the home page and back to the channels, I think one of the things that Oracle really thought about here is how to break this down into role-based learning. Now, as Aidan alluded to, there's a lot of configuration. There's mainly configuration in Oracle Cloud, so there's less customization. So this is why Aidan's methodology training is so apparent, because if you're looking to make that transition from technical to functional, Aidan's training alongside this product will enable you to do just that. So if we go into functional, it then breaks it down into the core modules within the HR product. Let's assume that you're looking to start with the core HR product itself. It will then take you into the skills-based learning that you need to adopt. Now, each one has a certain element of points attributed to it. Now, what I'd suggest here, if you're looking to take a learning subscription, is look at the labs, because within a 12-month learning subscription, you get access to labs throughout that period. Now, there is a slight delay on booking a lab, as you can see here, the next week is the week of the 15th of May to book a lab for you to practice what you've learned. So that gives you a real vision environment that allows you to put into practice all the skills that you've been learning through your training. So my advice would be to get the lab booked first, in which case then you have a date to focus on that will enable you to take on the learning you need, and then your lab will be available for you once you've consumed and understood that learning. So if we go into the overview of Oracle HCM Cloud, you can then pick the courses via which release you're looking to learn. So if we go into release 11, it'll then bring up the training the training video that we're looking to take on here. So I'll just mute the trainer here. Now all the videos are critiqued, so you can search the text that resides within that video to search for any keywords that you may be looking for. And as you can see, there's plenty of learning to be had here, and then you can do a skills check once you've watched those videos itself. So if we go back to further options within here, again we have lots of other training videos that you may need to take on board, and within your learning subscription as well, you get access to the training on demand courses that are relevant to the skills you're looking to adopt. Now the good news is within the training on demand videos, you can pause, rewind, fast forward, and also you've got access to the instructors whenever you need them. So there's an option to give you that as you go through, and I'll show you that shortly. So I'm going to go back to the home page. I'm going to look at the learning paths here. So I want to click on the learning paths and go back to the core HR. Now we can see within the introduction to Cloud HCM, there's a fair amount of learning. So we're going to click on one of those videos as an introduction. And once you've finished that video, that will take you through and account for the amount of time and learning that you've considered through that period. And it will continue to do that as you go along through that particular learning path itself. And as you go down through the rest of your learning path, it will then continue to tick through and tell you what you've achieved and what you haven't achieved. So it really helps you to sharpen your mind as to the learning that you're consuming and how far through the guided learning that you're taking on. So I hope this gives you a quick overview into the learning subscriptions itself. I'm trying not to keep you too long. It's getting quite late on a Thursday evening, but we'll go back to the rest of the presentation, and if you require any further demonstrations, we're happy to do those as a separate conversation. So going back to the actual learning itself, we've mapped out the entire learning path. So as you take through the unified methodology training and the modular-based training, we've worked out the timelines, we've mapped that together. There is a lot to learn, and if you only have 2 hours a day, it will take you 6 months to take on all the elements. However, if you're looking at just core HR first, along with the methodology training, then obviously that time is reduced considerably. Or if you've got more time to put to your learning, then you can reduce that timeline even further. So where Vertex will come in to support your learning once you've gained certification and you're certified is in respect of helping you to work with the organisations in getting the role that you require, whether that's a permanent role or a contract position. We've been in the organisation. I've been in recruitment for 17 years. Personally, I've been in that market for 20 years, and we have a lot of experience and a lot of client relationships to help you get onto that ladder of becoming, a cloud consultant or working for a systems integrator or an end client, whichever it is that you're looking to do. But that's one of the areas that Vertex specialise in. So some of the organisations that once you're certified you could work for, these are all cloud adopters. There's no secret here. They've all adopted cloud in one form or another, or are going through that transition as we speak. So already there's a lot of very large brands that are adopting this technology. So the question is, how much does this all cost? Now, access for a 12-month period is including all the training, so it's the cloud learning subscription and the LADs, all your certification and your exams, access to Aidan's methodology training, us helping you to find a job, as well as your micro certification, and this is unlimited access. The price of that for the year is £4,650. We do offer some instalment options, but also until the end of May, there is a £1,000 discount on that solution as well. So, now's the time to take this learning on. One thing I will say is that if you are a contractor, this is completely tax deductible. So it's something to bear in mind. So if you're in the UK, you can save another 22% on the value of that through obviously claiming that against your corporation tax. I think, Aidan, you mentioned to me that that's a little bit higher in Ireland.
Unfortunately, it's about double the percentage in Ireland, but that's part of the deal, I guess, for living in such a beautiful country.
Very true. So, just moving on from here, if we have any questions from anyone online, Aidan, I think we have some people asking some questions, but if anyone's got any particular questions, happy to answer those now.
Yeah, we had one from Mike who says, is it the case that customers really need to move away from requirements-driven to solution-driven? They need to understand and be receptive to adoption. He says, adopting cloud is a significant change management project for many customers who are more used to requirements driving the solution and significant configuration, arguably customizations being allowed. I think from Oracle's perspective, they're certainly putting everything they have behind cloud compared to developing the EBS side. So it suits Oracle, I think, to have a solution-driven approach like cloud gives, let's say. It's funny though, whenever I hear Larry Ellison talk to financial directors, he mentions that if your process doesn't suit if Oracle Cloud doesn't contain your process, that you can extend rather than customize the Oracle Cloud. But I'm not sure at what point an extension becomes a customization, let's say. But Tony, I think there's a significant adoption part when we're talking about cloud projects.
Yeah, I mean, talking to a number of clients that I've dealt with, and certainly a number of the consultants that have been involved in the projects, it really does. The big point is to manage those expectations right from the very beginning. and making sure the client and the stakeholders and the key decision makers in the organisation are on board with exactly what they're adopting and the challenges and the changes that they're going to need to go through, and that needs to filter through the organisation. So yeah, it is a big change. There are lots of big change management considerations. We're working with an organisation at the moment, reskilling their whole user community on cloud, but saying that the system is a lot more intuitive as well, so that there's a lot of benefits in that sense. So just seeing a question here from Ron saying that we supply just in EMEA. No, we don't, Ron. We do provide across the US market as well, if that helps. And also another question asking about financials. Yeah, this demonstration today was very much aimed at HCM. We have previously done one for financials, which is available on our YouTube channel. So if you look for the Vertex YouTube channel, you'll see a pre-recorded webinar there that's more focused towards finance and demonstrates that system as well.
So there's also a question from Sandeep there saying that he's a PL SQL developer and he wants to move towards functional straight away without Oracle Apps technical background. So Sandeep, I transferred in from Apps technical to Apps functional. So I guess the starting point would be to use your build and testing skills to transfer into Oracle EBS functional. Without having EBS technical, it's a bigger jump, let's say, than if you had EBS technical. But your starting point is to emphasize your build and your testing skills, and then try to build up your functional skills using a training course such as this one.
Yeah, I see a question here about that this is this free for Oracle partners? Unfortunately, it is not. You do get access as OPN to training being an Oracle partner, but that is on a separate solution. So if anyone here is from an Oracle partner, then you need to look into the OPN solution, and that will give you some of the learning and training you require. But obviously this product that we're talking about here, as well as Aidan's functional learning paths, are completely aside from OPN. So I hope that answers any questions that any OPN members have that are on the call today. Are there any other questions at all, Aidan?
Yeah, there's a question about practicing on cloud. I guess it's something that I know many people are, and consultants particularly, are interested in upskilling to cloud, but there are, as we know, EBS vision environments that are available if you've got a customer support identification number, but there's nothing like that for cloud. Nobody hosts cloud and gives away free environments. So in terms of practicing, your only way to practice on cloud is to purchase a training course from Oracle, and then to use the labs that are provided as part of the training.
Yeah, unless you're an OPN, of course. But as an independent or a single person who's looking to upskill, then you would need to adopt Oracle University's learning subscriptions to get access to those lab environments. You're absolutely right there, Aidan.
Yeah. So I have a question as well about whether will this give unlimited access across modules and products like Fusion, HCM, OBIE, etc. Maybe you could explain the difference between CLS and unlimited CLS. Yeah,
certainly. I'll go back on my browser actually, because that may help. And I'll just go back to the Oracle homepage. So in terms of the learning subscriptions, if you go to Oracle's website, Oracle University's website, you'll see under the training options, you'll see the cloud learning subscriptions and the unlimited cloud learning subscriptions. Now, within the cloud learning subscriptions, it's broken down, as I've mentioned in the past, to a variety of different areas. So we've got everything from CPQ to finance, HCM. We've got a procurement subscription. There's one for Taleo, planning and budgeting, of course. Then we've got supply chain, talent, Taleo, marketing, sales, service. So you basically subscribe to whichever learning subscription is relevant for yourself. However, under the unlimited learning subscription, unlimited cloud learning subscription, which is slightly more expensive, you get access to everything. So that's a kind of all-you-can-eat buffet, as opposed to, you know, just going for one element of it. You get access to the whole thing. Now, yes, it is slightly more, but when you work out, if you're a supply chain consultant who also specializes in procurement as well, you'll say, well, okay, my skills cross above or between the two learning subscriptions. I don't want to pay for two learning subscriptions. So obviously that's not right. So you'd be better off to buy a unlimited cloud learning subscription, which will then give you access across the board, because, you know, you may be a supply chain consultant who has an involvement with CPQ, for example, from the front end quoting perspective, or also you might be a finance consultant who touches onto planning and budgeting as well. So there are some crossovers, but my advice to you all would be you really need to think about how much time you can really dedicate to training, because there is so much material here that I wouldn't want anyone to waste any money, I think is the key message. So, you know, again, we can help you with that, identify what's the best product, the best solution, and then help you work out the best way to adopt that, and then work through the learning paths with you as well.
Okay, there's another question about how many practice sessions you can book, and I think that's unlimited during the subscription, Tony, is that right?
Yes, it is. As throughout the 12 months that you subscribe, so you get access to the instructors. They've got an SLA to turn around your query within 48 hours. That's working hours. With access to the labs, you book a lab, you get that for 7 days, and then that lab will then shut down, but then you can book another lab. So you can continue to book these environments throughout your learning subscription. So as long as you have a learning subscription, you will have labs available, yes.
And then just a question about the cost inclusive or exclusive of VAT.
Those costs are exclusive of VAT. If you're outside of the UK, then VAT won't apply anyway, but if you're inside the UK, then VAT would need to be applied. However, you claim that back anyway. And remembering on top of that, if you're an independent contractor, this is all tax deductible as well. So, you know, really the benefit is that we're offering these subscriptions until the end of May at a very, very discounted figure, and then on top of that you can benefit from the tax deductible element as well.
Okay, there's another couple of questions about Oracle right now. I'm not sure if that's a product that's available in the training channels.
It isn't, no, unfortunately. Right now is an acquired product, although so is CPQ, some would say. And there is, I believe, a contractual issue between right now and Oracle from that purchase, which means that they're not able to develop the training just yet. But I believe it is coming our way.
Okay, and the second part of that question is about the training available from an implementation perspective. So I guess as a general point in the Oracle training, they'll give you the training from the user's perspective, and they give you the product configuration, but to implement is kind of where the functional training comes in, so that you you understand what the life cycle is for implementing cloud or for going through an upgrade process with cloud. And that's where the functional, the OUM training, it covers that implementation part, let's say.
Yeah, I think that's important because as we've alluded to throughout this kind of webinar, is that, you know, understanding the product, you know, the solution will teach you the product knowledge, but really understanding the methodology and good practice that sits with that really will separate you know, consultants when they're in front of the client, particularly from the front end requirements gathering phase all the way through. And like you say, Aidan, having that first impression really does count, and this will go a long way to achieving that goal.
Okay, I see another question asking whether Oracle Fusion and Oracle Cloud is the same or different. So my understanding is that at the moment it's Oracle Cloud, but who knows, things may change next week, because originally everything was Fusion, and then they, I'm not sure whether it was a rebrand or a relaunch, but overnight all of the materials started changing to Oracle Cloud, and it's definitely Cloud Day, Cloud Training from now on. So I understand why you're confused, but that's part of the fun of dealing with a big corporation like Oracle.
Yeah, I think it had something to do with the confusion aligned with Fusion middleware as well, Aidan, because it was difficult to differentiate between the two. We're talking Fusion apps, we're talking Fusion middleware, you know, what are we talking about? And I think it was really designed to try and provide clarity, but unfortunately it's actually confused people a little bit further, potentially. But from now on, yeah, it's cloud. However, you will see through the learning subscriptions that it does relate back to Fusion in some points as well, which just adds to a little bit more fun.
Yeah. There's another question about the difference between the training. So there is a difference between the training. What Oracle offers is their product training. You set up an account on oracle.com, and you access all of the training through that account, let's say. So all of the demonstration that Tony went through is the Oracle product training, which teaches you cloud, HCM in this case. And as Tony mentioned, there's other options with financials, SCM, and then unlimited. So what I teach is through my own platform. So it's a separate product from Oracle. It uses the Oracle Unified Method framework, which is Oracle's cloud product methodology. So they are different, they're complementary. That's why we're working in partnership together to present basically the combination of the soft skills, or the project life cycle skills, which is what I teach, and the more technical or more core skills, which is what Oracle offer through their own training.
Okay, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, there's another question about cloud subscription covering all the modules or only HCM. So.
Yeah, so again, a learning subscription is very much based on the product vertical that you want to learn. So just going back to my page on the OU website, if you want to subscribe to Platform as a Service, there is a learning subscription for that. If it's sales, there is one for that, one for finance, etc. So each learning subscription is based upon the individual product line that you may want to learn, okay? So that's how it's broken down. Or, as I say, if you cross over from one to another and you feel that you may need access to more than one learning subscription, then the option would be to buy an unlimited cloud learning subscription, giving you access to pretty much everything.
Yeah, so I'm just laughing at Mike's comment that he says a lot of the documents and artifacts still refer to Fusion, which I guess they haven't got around to rebranding the entire Oracle document set yet.
Yeah. I'm just seeing another question about the Right Now training. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but I will try and find out. And if we can get your email details, I think it's from Hala, then I think we already have those details when you registered. So I'll endeavour to find the answers to those questions and let you know. I hope that's okay.
Okay, and let's just final call for questions then, I think. Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
Yep, that's all from me, I think. And any other questions at all? This presentation will go out to everyone that's registered, so you can reach out to myself or to Aidan. You know, in the meantime, I hope this has been worthwhile for you. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye.